to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast with TJ and Sonny.
All right, TJ. This is the moment, this magic moment, that you have a question of the week. You tried to tell me what the question was before the show started, and I said, TJ, I am so better off the cuff than I am thinking about things. I'm going to wait. And you said, this question you need to think about. I said, no, I don't, TJ. So, without any further ado, what is the question of the week? What is the QOT dub?
All right, so I'm going to pertain this to youth work, right? And it's a really simple question, but it's going to require some thought around this. What is one thing in youth work that's not as bad as everybody says it is? Like, there's a culture around just talking smack about this thing, and I don't know what you're going to say, but what is your response to this? One thing that is not as bad as everyone says it is in youth work.
I'm already ready to go. I have that conversation every day. TJ, in my job, I work at a large clinic. It's a quality clinic led by a great man, great leadership. And I say that because they're listening. No, just kidding. But it's a quality organization, quality people, quality counselors. Very few of them want to work with adolescents. Whenever they talk to me or I see them at a big team meeting, oh man, what you do, I could never do what you do. I'm like, yeah, you could. Well, no, working with adolescents, adolescents scare me. Why does an adolescent scare you? To me, adults scare me, but to them, they're always like, adolescents scare me. How do you have conversations with them? They're so rude. To me, that is the 100% answer to that question. It is adults being afraid to have conversations with kids. And I think the root of that is stemmed in a lot of different ways, because they do come off a little bit rough. They do come off a little bit, rugged around the edges. But once you get past that, once you remove that roped on shark fin on the goldfish, they're just kids. They're really just kids. And I'll give you an example. This happened today. And this is my favorite part about youth work. You don't have to ask kids questions. All you have to do is establish relationship, establish rapport, and establish trust. If you do those things, they will come to you with the questions. They will come to you seeking out your advice on the things that typically we think we should ask them. But if you wait and let them ask you, then they're more open to receiving it instead of just you giving it, shoving it down their throats and stuff like that. So today, we're at the Popeyes drive-thru getting some chicken because I believe in eating healthy. And this kid goes, it's a true story. He goes, hey man, I need your advice about something. And I'm like, what's up? And he goes, my grandma, she's always like harping on me. I'm in this program and that program, and I can't really talk to her very much. Man, she's always harping on me. What do I do? How do I communicate to my grandma I love her? That was his question. And some people would think this kid's a gangster kid or whatever, but his question was, how does he communicate love to his grandma? I didn't have to say, how's the relationship with your grandma? He trusted me. He knew I was a valuable resource to him and in his eyes. And he said, hey, I have a problem. Can you help me? And we only got there because we've established trust and rapport and relationship. And so easily my answer to that question is, what's the scariest thing, or the mythical thing? It's working with kids is difficult, and they're rude. And are they rude? Yes. One time I had to kick a kid out of group, and as he walked out of group, he said, F you, fat A. As he walked out of group, right? And so I said, and I rubbed my belly and said, thank you, my wife's a great cook. Everybody laughed. We moved forward, right? And so you can get around it, and they are rough, but once you get past that little rough coat that is really fragile, they're just kids. And oftentimes they're kids who's, if you heard their story, it would break your heart and it would make you want to love them all the more.
Yeah, dude, just to hint on what you said, I mean, I see that all the time, and I'm always encouraging my volunteers. As the ministry's grown, my ministry has become more to my volunteers than to all the students. I have a core group of students that I meet with now, but I mostly minister to volunteers, and young volunteers are incredibly insecure about talking to high school students. I don't know what that is. I mean, when you're in high school, the coolest person in the world is a 20-year-old or a 22-year-old. And it's crazy that my 20, 21, 22-year-old...
They're scared of the 16-year-olds, yeah.
Yeah, they're scared of the high schoolers, that it's so weird. And the funny thing is they're both like, it's one of those situations like they're more scared of you than you are of them, Kind
of like the junior high dance and you're trying to dance with a girl, but you're too scared to and stuff,
Yeah, well, that's even scarier because she's like a foot taller than you. But anyway, no, man, I always encourage them, guys, if you go up and just say something to them or just start a conversation, you'll find out that they want to talk to you. They want to be around you. And you have such an advantage to, a person in their mid 30s or 40s or 50s going up and talking to these students, because that's even more intimidating. And if you don't get over that in your 20s, you're not going to be a great youth worker into your 30s, because you just got to break through those barriers. And it's true. They're just kids, man. They're just kids. And that's one of the things we always learn about Respawn. You get these thugs out there. They got prison tattoos on their fingers and
at 15
and on
or
their
14-year-old.
On their necks and all that stuff. And it's like spelled wrong and like the L's backwards or something. It's like, oh man, that was really bad planning.
It's in a different language. That's why I spelled that way.
Yeah, but they look so intimidating, man. They look so intimidating. But you get them on the back of a jet ski, you get them on a tube on the back of a ski boat, and they just turn into kids. They start giggling and screaming, and there's a lot more F-bombs than normal kids, but they're just kids. And for me, the thing that's not as bad as everyone thinks it is this: rejection. Hearing the word no, having someone disapprove of something that you said or something that you like or something along those lines. One of the biggest fears in the world is rejection. I think number one is like public speaking, and number two is like rejection, And here's the thing is, I go up to people all the time because I'm constantly trying to recruit people to work in the junior high and high school ministries at my church. And I hear a lot of different versions of rejection in those moments because it's not right for everyone. And if you actually can get okay, and this is crazy, this is a life hack right here. If you can get good at being rejected and you can have thick skin about being rejected, you can live a happy, healthy life. Like I'm literally I think that is such an easy, and it's not like I hate when kids are like, I don't care what anybody thinks, because they all care what everyone thinks, right?
100% they all care. Yeah.
We wouldn't do this podcast and I wouldn't put things on Reddit or Snapchat if I didn't care what people think, honestly. So it's not that you don't care what people think. It's that you don't care as much when people disagree. So how you handle people disagreeing, how you handle people not liking you. Again, this goes back to the internet troll is the number one rule of the internet is don't feed the trolls. Sure. Like the second you comment is the second you validated whatever they're saying online. And so if you just don't engage and you just chalk it up as, well, that's a weird person. If you do that, you've done the world a service and you've helped yourself grow as a person. And in youth work, I'm going to tell you this so much, man, because youth workers exist in a strange place. Rejection comes in plenty. It just does. Mm-hmm. It just does. And the faster you can recover from the small rejections, the healthier you're going to be, and that will help you when you get the big rejections that take a little more time to recover from. But again, the thing that I think that everyone's afraid of is someone disagreeing with them or saying no to them or not liking them. And I think, honestly, that's not as big a deal as we make it. And you're going to find in life that if you put yourself out there, there's going to be people who disagree. It's just the way it works. But if you push through that, if you push through that, you'll find that you can do really awesome things. And that's, on the backs of, the Grammy thing this week. If it doesn't go well, right? Like
easy. I mean, yeah, it doesn't work. It's okay. I'll be okay.
I don't want to get there because Sonny might start crying at this point. But
no, and I had the conversation, and it was a good conversation to have because obviously we're hyped up, right? So, and I'm probably the worst offender. I've thought everything about what I'm going to wear, what are my first words going to be to Taylor Swift, all the stuff, right? So I've thought about
your first words to Taylor Swift.
I thought about what
your first words to Taylor Swift should be "I'm married," and that's it.
Yes,
I mean, because anything else, man, you're getting into some places you shouldn't take your heart. Above all things, guard your heart.
Anyway, so we're hyping it up. We're talking about how cool it'd be to go to the Grammys. I'm saying, man, that'd be the coolest counseling moment ever. But at the same time, I say, or not, right? Somebody has to win, and somebody won't win, and we can do one or the other. And so you prepare for both, and you don't get too high, you don't get too low. You just roll with it. And so when you were talking about rejection, I thought about motivational interviewing. It's a counseling technique used as an engagement strategy for working with difficult or resistant clients. And it works extremely well with adolescents. I know this because I met the guy who designed the curriculum in a bathroom at a conference once. It was just happened to be, we walked in the bathroom together and he was there, and I said, hey, I really love your theories and stuff. I say I work with kids, and he goes, motivational interviewing works extremely well with kids because one of the key concepts of motivational interviewing is rolling with resistance. Rolling with resistance I use every day, all day, throughout the day with every client, sometimes with staff, sometimes with coworkers. Rolling with resistance is the key to a happy life and a sustainable career in this field because the average burnout time is like 2 to 3 years in drug and alcohol counseling. But roll with resistance is simple. Kid says, I'm not going to quit smoking weed. All right, cool. How's the relationship with your mom? You just roll right through it because if you meet their statement with an argument or you fight against them, you're giving them something to fight against. But if you don't give them anything to fight against, there's nothing for them to fight, and then you can move on to something else. And so rolling with resistance, rolling with rejection, it's all right. Just move on, man. Just move on,
The most successful people in life have been rejected. People are always like amazed by this. They're like, this person went bankrupt 5 times, and this person was fired 10 times, and this person was considered a dropout. And everyone's like, wow, this is a great story of perseverance and all that other stuff. But the real story there, it is perseverance, but it is the ability to get rejected and keep moving forward. Because if you can move forward when you've been rejected, you will succeed at life. You just will. You will find your home. You will find your people. You will find your gift. But if you are a person who just, everything you have to comment on, everything is the worst thing ever, then you are just going to get lost in the weeds in your life. And you're going to find yourself reacting to the world as opposed to being an actual action taker in the world. And you will look at your life at the end of it, and you will realize that, somewhere along the way, your life stopped being your own, and it started to be you responding to the deep pain of your rejection. And so you have to just move on. And again, that's not to bypass all the therapy. I know that there's a lot of people who listen to this, pastors and counselors like you, who will say, well, that's the worst thing to say, just get over it. But it's not just get over it. It's learn that rejection is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
My wife rejected me twice, but look who's laughing now, babe.
Thank you for listening to the Fringe Youth Worker Podcast.